everybody, welcome to day 2 of the 5-day character development challenge. I am Halie, your host, and I am super excited that you're here because today we are going to be focusing on your character's actions and reactions. So if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below, and whatever it is you're drinking today, grab a cup, cozy up, and let's get to writing. All right, guys, we are gonna dive right in. So today is actually very similar to yesterday because yesterday we were looking at speaking and delivering lines with personality, and today we are looking at acting and reacting with personality. So these are actually going to be pretty different, even though they sound very similar and are going to accomplish a lot of the same things. This is actually gonna be a different focus and also quite a bit of fun. So I really wanna separate this into the idea of both acting and reacting as kind of two separate things, because acting, what I want that to be is, this is just the way the character acts. It's the way that they do things. It's the mundane things they do. Yesterday was the mundane things they say. Today is some of the mundane things they do. That is going to be the acting. But then we also have reacting, which is when something happens, how do they react to it? So in response to some sort of stimulus. So for today's homework, it's actually going to be very similar to yesterday's, but we have 3 things that I would consider acting and 2 that I would consider reacting. So before we jump in, I guess I should probably remind you who our 5 personality types are. Remember, these are very simple, no backstory. They're lucky they even have names, actually. I almost didn't give them names. But we've got aggressive Marge, funny Lisa, nice Larry, flirty Jennifer, and arrogant Brad. So we'll go ahead and start with reacting. So our 5 things that we're gonna have are, we're gonna describe how they walk, we're gonna have them react to somebody slamming a door into them, react to somebody insulting their mother, we're gonna have them announce themselves entering a room, and we're gonna have the way that they knock on a door. So let's start with the acting. No, let's start with the reacting. Each of these characters is going to get their own line on my worksheets. Your worksheets obviously are going to be your own characters. You're not using mine. These are just very simple examples. But we're gonna start with if somebody slammed a door into them. So with Marge, who's aggressive, she's probably gonna shove the door back into the person who shoved it into her, right? Marge does not mess around. With Lisa, she is probably gonna fall to the ground and fake a serious injury, and everyone's gonna be all worried until she's like, I'm just joking, I'm fine, because Lisa's funny. And then let's see, with Larry is kind, so when he gets a door slammed into him, he's probably gonna apologize, even though he's the one who got hit, and say, oh, I'm so sorry for the startle. I'm the one who was standing in the wrong place. Larry's just so nice. That's definitely something he would do. Jennifer, if she gets hit with the door, she's probably gonna ask someone to kiss it better. And then Brad, you know, if he gets hit with the door, he's probably going to lecture the offending person on how to properly use doors and really just make them sound like an idiot for doing something so stupid. I really could see Brad doing that. And so that was our kind of reacting category. I also want to do one for acting. So remember, reacting is like in response to a stimulus. Acting is just who they are. The 3 things that we have for acting are describing how they walk, describing how they announce themselves when they enter a room, and describing how they knock on a door. So, you know, again, we are going to be incorporating some speaking into this, but that's also a part of acting. You know, it's a combination of the things that they do, the things that they say, and the body language that goes with it. That all goes into making the personality of the character. So with the acting, I chose the door knocking one to use as an example because I think you can actually have a lot of fun with this. And it's something so simple, right? Like just knocking on a door. That is just something you wouldn't even think about in your story. You just have a character knock, you move on, you don't think about it. But it's just a tiny little place that we can slip in some extra character personality. So with Margot, she is probably gonna like pound on the door, right? She's an aggressive character. That is going to be what her door knock sounds like. Whereas with Lisa, it's probably gonna be more of like a fun knock, nickety knock knock, and she's gonna like lean in real close to the door and go, yoo-hoo, you left your underwear in the dryer. That just seems like a Lisa thing to do. You know, she's the funny character. And then we've got Larry, who is probably gonna knock so softly that nobody hears it. And he's gonna wait a solid 2 minutes before knocking again, just to make sure that he's not imposing on anybody's personal space. And then he might just leave if nobody answers. Larry's just, he's just such a nice guy. And then with Jennifer, she's probably gonna say something like, oh, Actually, she's probably gonna send a text and it's gonna say something like, oh my gosh, it's just so cold outside with hardly any clothes on. Please come to the door. That might be something Jennifer says. I don't know, kind of depends on what style of flirty you go with. There's really a couple that you could choose. Brad, let's see. You know what? Brad's not gonna knock. Brad's just gonna push the door open and be like, hey, hope you don't mind I let myself in. If he even says that, he might just push the door open and say, hey, what's up? And he's inside. Brad's not gonna knock. So you can make those fun decisions, of course, with each of your characters. Your characters, again, are gonna be more complex than mine, who each have their one personality trait each. But that actually opens up a couple of doors, because you could have a character who is aggressive and funny, or maybe flirty and kind. If you have two things going on with that character, then it opens a few more avenues for the way that they can knock on the door. You know what? I bet that you could come up with a very funny line with your aggressive character pounding heavily on the door. So there is so much to work with here. This is going to be a lot of fun, but before we go on, I want to go to a couple of do's and don'ts. So a few things to remember are that we really want to include language, body language, and direct actions. Those are all part of our character's personality. So, yesterday we focused on delivering generic lines with personality, and today we're really doing generic actions with personality, actions and reactions. But that is going to take a combination of what they say, how they say it, what their body's doing, and really how they're moving the plot forward through their personality. Now, before we get to the homework, I also have a few things to avoid, which is when you go to incorporate this into your writing, I want you to remember that these are kind of one-off things. So we don't want the funny character to knock on the door the same way every single time. Otherwise it comes across as really a little bit neurotic. And the only time that I can think of that ever actually working is when the writers were trying to portray a neurotic character. I'm thinking, of course, of Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. When he knocks on doors, he has a very specific knock, 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 penny, knock, 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 penny, knock, 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 penny. But he is specifically a neurotic character. So unless that is what you're going for, I would not have your character knock on the door the same way every single time. I also probably wouldn't recommend really spending a lot of time on door knocking anyways. It's probably not crucial to your story. It's just that if it is going to happen, you do want your characters to put their own little spin on it, right? On whatever it is, if it's walking down the street, if it's checking the mail, if it's the generic actions that are boring. We're just trying to use a little bit of personality to spice them up a bit. So just remember that, but don't have them do a funky way to check the mail 3 different points in the story. Just do it once. These are one-off things. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on the homework section. I know that this is everybody's favorite part because you are working on your own characters, getting to know them, spending time with them, and working on your story, having a good time. So make sure that you have your worksheets downloaded. If you don't, we should have a link below. Go ahead, or to the side above, it's somewhere. Go ahead and go there, make sure that you have your worksheets downloaded, and you're going to write down your character name, their personality. You're gonna describe how they walk. You're gonna have them react to someone slamming a door into them, react to someone insulting their mother, announce themselves entering a room, and describe what it sounds like when they knock on a door. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm gonna go ahead and jump off and do this with my own characters. I'm actually pretty excited. This is going to be a very fun time, and I do mean my own actual characters, not my 5 generic personalities who I do love dearly, but I need a little more complexity in my life, you guys understand. All right, so you guys have fun. Thank you so much for joining me. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys tomorrow for day 3 of the 5-day character development challenge.